Hello, this is Paul from Paul's Tech. In this lecture, we are going to go over the type of functions we learned before. And I will not go into all the details about the function, like the definition, the property, whatever, okay, like domain, range, whatever, okay. I just going to the basic type of function to classify between different type of functions. So first we're going to the power function. The power function, which is x raised to the power. A is power. We call that power or exponent, right? A constant number. And like x squared is the root square function. X raised to the third power is the cube function, like that. Okay. The even x raised to the 1st power x is a linear function, the basic, right? So that's the simplest. And the inverse of that type of function is the root function. Root, like nth root. If n equals 2 is the square root, and n equals 3 is cube root, or nth root, like that. We can write the root function as a power function. Can you see the power is 1 out of n? That's a rational power, right? So, and we can say the root function is a special type of power functions there. Okay, so the first, and the polynomial function is like this. Okay, xn, xn minus 1, this is the power function. So polynomial is a linear combination of power functions, and the highest term, okay, the highest power n, we call the degree. And another type we call the rational function, and a polynomial divided by another polynomial function. Okay, we call the rational function. And all these 4 types we put together is some major example of algebraic function. Okay, put together is algebraic function. Of course, algebraic functions we have more than these 4 types. Okay, is algebraic operations of all the polynomials. Okay, and of course these 4 types is the basic example of algebraic functions. What is the operation? The basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, raising power, or taking rows. Okay, all these basic. For example, I'll give you what is algebraic. A little bit complicated, like I take x squared. Okay, this is a power function. If I take a root function times x plus 1, can you see? This is a power, and this is a root times together is algebraic function. Okay, is for example, whatever. Or if something like you can put like 1 out of hundreds power. See, this is taking power, right? This is taking power. So this is still algebraic function. Or this kind of the first basic type. And then we have the second basic type. Okay, you're going to see. First, we have a trig function. You learned from trigonometry 172 before, right? Okay, basic 6 type of trig functions: sine, cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, cosecant, right? Okay, I will not go into the detail. And now we do the inverse of that function is the inverse trig functions. The inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent, inverse cotangent, inverse secant, inverse cosecant. And other than trig functions, you also learn the exponential function. Can you see? B is the base, the power is x. And this time x, the variable goes to the power. Okay, so the most famous exponential function is natural exponential. E over the number e raised to the power of x, right? Ex increase very fast. And the b is the base, a positive number. Okay, that's an exponential function. Okay, one note you have to pay attention. I'll give you an example. Like if I say 2 raised to the x, and this is the exponential function because what? Because the exponent is the variable. However, if we write this, if we write the y equals x squared, so don't think that this is not an exponential function. This is what? This is a power function, the very basic. They are different. This is a exponential function, and this is a power function. Okay, whatever the exponent goes to variable, or the variable goes to the exponent, we call the power. We call the exponential function. Okay, the power is a constant number. We call the power function. They are different. Don't mix. Another type is the inverse of exponential function. We call the logarithmic function, right? Logarithm. Can you see? B is the positive. This is the base. It's a positive number. Okay, x is the variable. This is log. So exactly we have two types, right? Either increase or decrease. And all these basic we put together, we call the transcendental functions. Of course, it's not only this. Any other functions other than algebraic function, we call the transcendental function. And the trick, this type of function is just the very basic type of transcendental functions. Okay. Strictly say what is transcendental functions. In the future, you will learn other transcendental functions, okay, other than trig, inverse trig, exponential, logarithm. Okay, in the future, you will learn. What exactly the definition? The definition is the function cannot be expressed in terms of a finite sequence of algebraic operations of polynomial functions, which means what? Any function other than algebraic, we call it transcendental. And now, the basic we're going to classify. If we put all the functions here, can you classify different type of functions? All we need is just the name. Okay, so we just wrote the name. What is functions? Of course, this log function, right? So everyone knows. I simply say this is a log function. What is function? Is a root function, the fourth root, right? Someone probably will say it's power. No problem. Okay, it's a power, but a special power. Usually we just wrote the root function. This is a root function. How about this? Polynomial over polynomial. What the name? Rational function, right? So this we call the rational function. How about this? This is what? This is a polynomial function, right? So the highest term is 2. This is a polynomial. This is a polynomial function. And of course, if it's a polynomial, state the degree. The degree n equals 2, right? What is the function? Exponential or power function. Keep in mind that this is not a t raised to the fifth power. It's not a power function. See, the exponent is the variable, which means the exponential function. This is exponential function. Okay. The last one, can you see, is the sine. It's a trig function, right? So basically trig functions. Of course, it's the multiplication of trig functions. But here, we only can choose these trig functions. Okay. Okay, so this is the basic function type. Thank you.